Okay.
Can you see me?
Yes, you look beautiful.
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay, thank you.
You look like you're 39.
Yeah.
Well, it's the thing I have behind me that's holding the waddle up.
Recording in progress.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the November 8th, 2021 meeting of the Personnel Commission for Long Beach City College. Thank you for joining us this evening. We are going to start off by saying the Pledge of Allegiance. And could I please ask the birthday girl to lead us in the pledge?
Absolutely, I'll be glad to. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Robin.
I love saying that pledge. I'm so proud of it. So anytime I get the opportunity, I'm throwing the old hand up. I'm happy to say the pledge.
Well, it's a special day for us and for you. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Roll call. Robin?
Here.
Jeff?
Here.
I'm here. And so we are all in attendance this evening. Public comments from agenda items. Juliet, do we have anything for the public this evening?
We don't have any comments, Janine.
Thank you. And approval of the minutes. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
And is there any discussion of the minutes from the last meeting?
And that I can see.
Hearing and seeing none. Jeff?
Aye.
Robin?
Aye.
And I vote aye. That passes unanimously. On to new business. We'd like to move an item F to the front of the new business. May I have a motion for that, please?
So I'll make a motion to reorder the agenda to move item F to the beginning.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Robin. Is there any discussion on changing that order? Hearing and seeing none. Robin?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
I vote aye, and so we'll be moving F to the next item. So on to F, approval of transfer to a related classification from Senior Administrative Assistant, Human Resources Personnel Commission to Executive Assistant. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
And discussion on this item. I've got a lot of questions, but I'd like to hear from my fellow commissioners and anyone else who'd like to speak to that first. Should we start with, why don't we start with Kristen? Kristen, I assume you're here to talk on that, right? Did we lose Kristen? No.
Yeah, sorry, I was unmuting. I apologize.
Oh, that's okay. Sorry, my fault.
Yeah, so we wanted to place this item before the commission for consideration in compliance with the PC rules and regs. Because in instances when individuals have the opportunity to be considered for a transfer into a related class, that is transfer of a classified employee, which is governed by the PC rules and regs. So we want to make sure that we're fully compliant with the process. And within that particular section of the regs, it is allowable action as long as it goes through the commission and it's vetted and approved. And some of the items that are considered in making the decision as to whether it makes sense is it sufficiently related in classification to warrant a transfer? Would the testing material be reasonably similar for the particular positions as well? An additional consideration is whether the salary is on the same range, which it is in this particular instance.
Is it identical or is it off a little?
No, it's the same. It's the exact same range.
Okay. All right. Did you have anything else, Kristen?
No, I think that kind of summarizes, the reasoning behind it.
Okay. Can we go to my fellow commissioners first, Jeff and Robin? Did you have any questions or comments on this item?
Do we want Jennifer, just for the record, to insert her comments right now?
Sure. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Similar to what Kristen's already outlined, many of the duties are overlapping.
The senior administrative assistant positions in HR are single incumbent positions. They are on the management salary schedule. They're not AFT represented, and they are in the same exact pay range.
Thank you. Okay, back to Robin and Jeff. What do you have for us? Do you have anything? Because I've got a lot of questions and I don't want to dominate the conversation.
Go ahead, Janine. You're probably the same questions I have. Go ahead.
Okay, how about you, Robin?
I defer, Janine, please go ahead.
Okay, so first, what distinguishes between us making a transfer or an open process? So why was this a transfer rather than an open process?
So to speak to that, it actually, you can go either way. So with any particular classification, there is technically the ability to go either way for, go through the posting, et cetera, or go through the transfer process. In some scenarios, when classifications are sufficiently similar, and when we have an opportunity to further develop an individual in-house, further expand skill sets, et cetera, that also contemplates the tenets and principles of the merit system as well. So we want to make sure that we're staying mindful of that. In participating in a transfer of a related class, that does enable an opening for competition behind the individual who exits a position and enters into the new classification. So there is that opportunity that follows this process as well.
So what did this particular process look like? How did, I'm not going to use any names. How did the current position get solicited by the VP's office?
Yes, and in this particular situation, my understanding is there are conversations around additional development and additional ability to support the college in an expanded way, which again, as mentioned, is something that we would always want to work to do and strive to do in investing in our employees and expanding their skill set and their ability to impact the college when possible.
So I'm fundamentally with you 100% with that, but I'm also concerned about the equity issue and other opportunities for employees across the campus. And I'm concerned about, was this an open process or was it limited so that there was no knowledge beyond this one person? And I'm concerned about the optics of that. I'm concerned about the transparency. I'm concerned about the morale. I'm concerned about a lot of things, and I'm just hoping to get some clarification from preferably you, Kristen, to make me more comfortable with this, because the person themselves, I'm extraordinarily comfortable and thrilled that they have opportunities, but I'm worried about the rest of our staff feeling like they've been shut out. So what do you have to say for any of my concerns about that?
Definitely. So in this particular situation, as Jennifer did mention, these are classifications that are single incumbent classifications. And currently there's actually only one permanent incumbent in the classification of senior administrative assistant. The other incumbent who occupies it is occupying it in an out of classification manner. So there's actually only one individual in the college that would be eligible for consideration of this nature.
So you said that this was a one-on-one, basically the hiring authority went to this person and yeah, that sounds great. And that was kind of it. What do we do to keep the rest of the staff from feeling like this was handpicked and future things could also be handpicked and they would be overlooked?
So that's a really good question. And this may actually lend to some thoughtful and larger conversations around this. Because as I mentioned earlier, one of the major tenets of school district merit systems is the ability to invest in and grow and provide opportunities to our current employees. In community colleges, we do have a complicating tenet around that as well, where we also have to factor in Title V aspects, where, for example, county offices and K-12s don't. So oftentimes, those particular merit school districts, they participate in the active investment and growth through promotional only examinations, which isn't something that we have the ability to do because of some of the language that's in Title V. So this could be an opportunity to have some additional development around some structure here relating to the merit system and the commission, and determine kind of standardized ways where we do have the ability to invest in our internal employees through related transfer opportunities. So this could be kind of a really good opportunity to expand this area as a college and merit system to further invest in classified employees.
I'm strongly in favor of that. So please don't think that anything I'm saying is not 100% behind that. I'm going to open it up to the floor, Jeff, Robin, and then go to AFT because I think you guys might have questions too.
I did have one simple question, Janine, and you probably asked it, and I probably did not understand the answer. But my question is, it sounds like there is only one person that's qualified for this position. Is that what I heard, that there is one person qualified to take on this transfer? Is that what my understanding is? Okay. And if that is so, is there a reason why we don't open it up? I don't understand what the reason is for us not posting the position, I guess, is what I'm looking for. Because if the person is the only person that's qualified, what does it hurt to post it? I'm just asking. You already have the most qualified individual, but at least everyone else would have an opportunity, because if they're not heard or seen, we really don't know if there is someone that's qualified. If we give everyone an open opportunity, then we do know that the person that we're putting in the position is the most qualified. So that's my only question is there a reason why we just didn't open it up and let the chips fall where they may? My question.
I think that kind of goes back to striving to, kind of invest and work with our current employees and provide them with opportunities and kind of backfill behind those particular positions, so that we are kind of getting the best worlds, where we invest and grow in individuals who have demonstrated great loyalty and great investment and done a great job for the college, kind of reciprocally demonstrating in that back to individuals in concepts of expanding fairness. That would enable the open backfill behind that particular person. But to continue to expand on that question, there is also the ability to open the position and certify interested individuals as transfer candidates who would be able to participate in the final interview that way.
Thank you. I appreciate your answer. Thank you.
Jeff, what did you have?
Well, I think we're all in sort of the same situation right now. It probably would have been a little bit easier on us as the Personnel Commission if we were being asked this question prior to this meeting. I mean, they've selected the individual, and not discounting at all the individuals that we can see there, but it's this awkward situation. We're being asked to verify a decision that we weren't really involved with, and yet people can come to us and say, well, wait, why wasn't this following the normal procedure? Well, so we're essentially just going to be approving this and giving cover to a decision. The reality is somebody wanted to pick somebody, and there's no qualms with that, and they're qualified people, and so I don't have any issues with that either. But it just is really awkward for us. I mean, is this where I think if we said, no, go open it up, I still think it would come to the same conclusion, potentially. And very qualified, but we weren't asked. So here we are, just at the very end, to say yes or no. And I think saying no to it sends a message, but at the same time, I don't think it changes the outcome. But it's just one of those really sort of unusual scenarios that we're put in. So I don't know what else to tell you right now. I mean, we can look at the individuals. That's not our task. That's not our role. But knowing the people as we do, there's no decision, no problem with that. It's all, positive, but it's just one of those awkward situations. So I don't know what would be gained by saying no, go back, put it out in the open, so on and so forth. It just slows everything down. That would have probably had the same results. But yeah, and I don't know if this has happened previously that many times or not. I mean, it's sort of a unique situation anyway.
I don't remember it happening before, and I don't know if there's some precedent that I've forgotten, but it's really on my radar, and it's really bothersome to me that it's in HR, because it looks like the manipulation's happening with our approval, and that's the last thing that I ever want to happen. I want it to be open process. I want it to be equitable for all of our employees, and it doesn't feel that way, in spite of the fact that I know the person that's being considered is superior. Loy, I see that you've jumped in. Can you share your thoughts?
Yes, thank you very much for your thoughtfulness surrounding the situation. And what I can contribute is that there are different avenues in which there is an opportunity for promotion. And this is one of the things that we do not want to sidestep any rules. And we reviewed the PC rules, and it is something that's allowable, which is why we're presenting it for your review, for your consideration. There is no attempt in taking any shortcuts or creating the optics of a favored track within HR. And to add to that a little bit, you may be aware that the person who is assisting me now has submitted her retirement. And so we're trying to create the most optimal scenario in a transitional period so that there's stability. You may be aware that HR, there is a lot of instability right now. It's one of my number one goals as I'm in the position to assist our team in stabilizing. It's not functional the way we have it now. And so I'm doing everything I can to create that stability.
Surely you understand that the classified side is highly impacted by that instability, and this just makes it worse, though.
That may not be entirely the case, only because we are bringing on individuals, as you've been seeing, to try and create better functions and efficiencies. I don't remember it being on this agenda. I believe it is, but one of the positions is a tech position that's being filled on the classified side as well. And so we're doing everything possible to try and create that stability. It may be unstable just for a short period of time due to this potential transfer, but when we're afforded the opportunity for transition, it will help stabilize it.
I realize we're bringing people in, but when they have the longevity that's typically less than 1 year, it doesn't do much good, because you spend all that time training and then they don't even get up to a level of high productivity and then they're gone again. Again, I'm not talking about this individual because that person's superior, but the optics of this, Loy, you have to understand, are horrible. It makes us look like we're complicit in something that is trying to bypass. And I don't remember precedents. I'm going to assume there's some out here, but it is an extremely uncomfortable position to put us in when we are bypassing maybe many qualified employees who should have at least had the opportunity to apply for a position that's probably pretty plumb on campus. And they didn't have that opportunity. It really worries me on many, many levels. And I completely agree with what Kristen said about getting every one of our employees to their highest potential as quickly as they can. I am 100% behind that, but not when it looks like we're handpicking. And I don't know of anything that I have heard so far that doesn't sound like it was handpicked. Go ahead, Robin. You're on
You're
mute.
on mute, Robin.
Thank
And
you so
Janine, I
much.
know
My next question is, how long would have a recruitment to open this position up? How much of a delay would that have caused you?
Well, we did review the timeline, and with the impending holidays, that will stagger that ability. And then we also have that longer holiday period that's situated in December. By that point, Susan or my assistant would have been gone by that point. And so it's very difficult to make that transition between the two positions. But given that this individual will still be around if approved, there is that advantage of continuity with the historical practices and knowledge to be able to carry it on with the new person if we're able to bring them in earlier.
Thank you for the answer.
Donna or Robert, is Robert still out there? What did you?
I think Kristen wanted to say a few words, but I also want to chime in.
Oh, go ahead. Okay, sorry. Robert and Donna will come back to you. So go Jennifer, then we'll go to Kristen. I'm sorry, I'm not getting a full view here on my screen. So Jennifer first, then Kristen, then Robert and Donna.
So there was a question about precedent. So I do want to say that the district and the PC rules allow for administrative transfers. We have had cases of that where the district makes the decision to move somebody into a like classification in another area, as long as the qualifications are very similar in the scope of work. So we do have other cases of that. I do want to put that out there. And the recruitment process, Robin, to answer your question, we have a minimum 15-day posting period. By the time you run through a recruitment with all the holidays factored in, we accounted for at the soonest being able to fill the position probably early January, which would be when our current executive assistant is already gone. So, and then the last piece is, I do want to highlight that probably about 4 or 5 meetings ago, when I gave the clerical series as an example for the class study, the 2 individuals in HR, since they're single incumbent positions, were allocated to executive assistant roles. So again, proving that the work that's being performed by the 2 senior administrative assistants in HR is comparable already to an executive assistant.
I just want to share that I'm not concerned about the comparability of the 2 positions. I'm concerned about the process. Let's go back to Kristen, and then we're going to Robert and Donna.
So I was also going to echo what Jennifer communicated about the past precedents for doing this. It isn't something that has come before the commission with great frequency, but it has come before the commission on occasion. So I just wanted to mention that. But there is potentially an additional way to approach this while also certifying the individual to be considered for related transfer and then be part of the final interview is potentially posting for the position, but doing so in a shorter time frame, which is allowable pursuant to the education code as well. So that could provide for that competitive piece that the commission, it sounds to me as though that is, consideration and concern. So it would address that while also allowing the individual incumbent who has the related background to be considered via the transfer process, which would be a very routine act to do because individuals are certified that way.
Would that be in-house or would that extend outward?
It would extend outward. It would just, we would just post for a shorter time frame since we are working with such a truncated time frame. And as mentioned, that is something that we do have the ability to do for the education code.
Okay. Robert.
Thank you for that information, Kristen.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. You're very thorough. Thank you.
Robert, do you have something for us?
You know, this is a tough subject. I agree with all of you on both sides. We've fought and always worked hard with HR to get, you know, just the simple in-house, ask everyone for a resume and then make your choice, you know, just to play, just to make it fair for everyone. I know the ultimate decision probably will not change, and I'm not against the same range, same transfer. I wouldn't agree with it if it was a different range. But in this case, you know, knowing the players, unfortunately, if Jennifer was talking about reclassing the position anyway to the same range, title-wise, because if the range is still the same and the title was just to change, then it would just be a straight transfer. So I know everything's moving slowly because of the reclass, but you know, I would prefer that it would go through the channels, but I don't see it being a change, and I don't know if it's worth the effort with right now the amount of hiring that HR has to do. So I leave it into your consideration. This is the only time, you know, when I would say it, since there's not a money issue, this is strictly a title change. So keeping that in mind, it's just, you know, it's a really rough call, but I don't see any harm in it. But again, I would always prefer in the future to make it perfectly clear that we always go out, do a short, whatever, hiring run and let everyone have a chance. It's not like her position isn't going to open back up, so there's a chance for someone to promote to that. It's just we'll basically ask them to do it twice, or maybe combine the two and run the position for a replacement and the same time run the position for this and use that same list for both jobs. So you could fill both with one thing, because it's got to be filled and we don't have anybody else that can fill her job as well. So maybe run the recruitment at a fast pace and try to find someone to support the Personnel Commission as fast as possible, and use both lists to do exactly what Kristen said and run this too as fast as possible.
Jennifer, is that doable?
Are you suggesting Robert to run the executive assistant recruitment or the senior administrative assistant personnel commission recruitment?
He said run them simultaneously.
Wouldn't
you could draw off of basically a single list.
Wouldn't it be the same qualifications? I mean, 9 out of 10 are the same. So you're going to run the recruitment anyway for the leaving. For one of the two positions needs to be filled from out of house. So if you run a quick position and there's a bunch of people that can apply, then somebody's going to get the position. It's not a money issue. It's a title issue.
We can run both recruitments under the existing titles, or we could run one recruitment and fill the second vacancy from the like list.
Correct.
The rules allow for either way.
Correct. That's what I was thinking.
It seems like it's a good way to do it. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate that. Donna, how about you?
I had a couple of thoughts. One, if it's a transfer position, did other executive assistants get notified that they could transfer into the position? Would that be something that would normally be done when a position like that opens so that others could transfer over to it? And then the other thing was with the short, you know, you were going to be shorthanded for this time. I worked as an LTE executive assistant for 3 months here at the college. Couldn't we have gotten an LTE or somebody in that position? I worked for 3 months and another stint for 2 weeks as an executive assistant at the college. So I'm just looking at a couple of other things. And when Susan got into that position, wasn't she a transfer into the position she has too? I think memory serves me right. Anyway, those are my thoughts on that.
Anybody able to answer any of Donna's questions? Donna, you want to address them one at a time again?
I just wondered if it was a transfer in position, if other executive assistants and senior administrative assistants were able to transfer in, if it was flown at least as a transfer position to the other areas. And also, was the option of having an LTE ever explored so that you could compile a list?
Kristen and Lloyd, did you have an answer for that?
I'm afraid I haven't been here long enough to adequately answer that.
That's okay. Kristen, how about you?
What was it? Was there a solicitation to other individuals? No, there was not. Historically in the past, that isn't a process that we've gone through. So that wasn't something that the district did in this instance either.
Okay, thank you. Donna, did you have other questions? That's it.
I just wanted to bring up, I know we have another interim executive assistant, and I wondered why that person's position hasn't been just made executive assistant. They've been interim for a while, I believe, so.
Go ahead, Lloyd.
If I understand correctly, there is a holding pattern because of the superintendent presidential search happening. And so that may create a domino effect as well.
Okay, this is a thorny issue. Go ahead, Lloyd.
And I just want to put it on the table that please understand we're not trying to sidestep any procedures or anything.
I don't feel that way. I want to tell you that right now. I don't feel that way at all. I've been working with your department for quite some time, and I have never felt that way. Okay. As a matter of fact, I find your department to follow the rules stringently. And certainly one of the things that Jennifer constantly does is she goes back to the manual to make certain that you're following the rules. So please know that that's not what we're thinking at all. Please know.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else? Are we ready for a vote? Robin and Jeff?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, there's a motion on the floor to right now. It's just a motion to approve. I mean, I think we all can look at the obvious. I mean, you remember the old saying about ask for permission or ask for forgiveness, one of the two. If we would have asked for permission probably earlier on, it would have been not as challenging as it is right now. I mean, this vote essentially is asking for forgiveness, and it's not the qualification of the people. I hear the timeline to push that back. The end results, as Robert had said, would probably not change. So there's those compelling reasons why just to move forward. I don't know when, you know, we talked about it, there's been precedents, but I don't know of when that was or when it took place. But this vote now sets a precedent, and the precedent is now set for November 8th, 2021, that we did this. So it's just one of those really awkward situations. And again, I don't think anyone with malice, but let's face it, human nature is, well, you know, there's someone I would like to see there. And we're going to be verifying that. But to sit there and playing devil's advocate, go the other way and say, oh, no, stop, you're going to go through it all. We think we know where the end result is going to be as well. So it's just really, and also it puts a lot of people, because of the staffing situation and the holidays. So it really is awkward, but so I would just say I'll be willing to move forward with it. it's just, yeah, it's one of those, for people that we have to vote on it. Again, because of knowing a lot of other factors and the good quality people and all that. So it's not one of these votes you say, yeah, I'm going to hold my nose and vote on it because it really does stink. It's just one of those really uncomfortable votes that we know it could have probably been handled a little bit more to the framework that we all feel comfortable with. But at the same time, all the other challenges, things we raised, that I'm willing to move forward with it tonight.
Thank you, Jeff. Any other discussion on this item?
I don't have any more discussion, but I want to say for the record that I understand the challenges that our Human Resources Department has stacked against them, and I recognize that. And at no time do I ever feel like they're doing anything other than what's in the best interest of the college. I want that to be on record. I have a high regard for our Human Resources Department. So
thank you, Robin. Clear. I want to segue a little bit for what you said. I have the utmost respect for our entire department. I know that I'm not as familiar with the academic side, but I know that the classified side is overwhelmed. And I just look to Kristen and Loy to try to alleviate that burden and support every one of our employees emotionally and physically, and just in any way that you can, so that they don't want to leave the college, so that they want to stay, so that they feel appreciated, so that they feel valued, and so that they feel like they have a positive impact every day in their job. I'm very concerned about that because we're losing too many good people and we're losing them too quickly. And that says a lot about our structure right now. And you two have a lot of authority over that. And when we make a decision like we're going to make in just a moment, it kind of goes against everything I just said. We've got to give them support, and we have to do everything we can to make the college run as effectively as possible, but with happy employees, people that are proud to be there. So I'm really looking to the two of you. I'm looking beyond Jennifer to the two of you to make sure that that structure is in place and that you are giving what they need for that emotionally healthy day-to-day work atmosphere. I hope that makes sense to you. Anyone else want to weigh in? It's been an important discussion and I really appreciate everyone's authenticity on it. Okay, hearing and seeing none. Robin, you're on mute. You're still on mute. There you go.
I apologize for that.
Okay.
I vote no.
No. Jeff, how about you?
I'll vote aye.
And I will vote aye. I appreciate everyone's input on that. Thank you so much. And thank you, Kristen and Loy, for being here with us and for sharing all of that background. It was very, very important for us. I appreciate it. On to A for new business. This is approval of the 2021 Personnel Commission Annual Report. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
And is there any discussion on the Personnel Commission Annual Report? This is a big deal for 2021.
When is it being presented to the board?
It will be presented in December to the board.
I thought they did a heck of a job. I mean, I looked at it and I was like, that Jennifer and their staff, I mean, just the visuals, it's beautiful.
The cover is just fantastic.
The cover, yes, just starting with the cover. It's so inclusive. Mm-hmm. Just well done. The cover was beautiful. Yeah, it's so inviting.
Yep, absolutely. I agree.
Thank you. I'll cover, I know I went over a few of the highlights last week, or the last meeting, I should say, during the first reading, but I'll highlight a few additional things. Next page, please. So our values and our statement of ethics I've covered several times. Next page. The annual budget is reflected 3 fiscal years. So what we actually spent in 18-19, what was estimated for last year, and what we're projecting out for the next year. Next slide, please. Our commissioners are reflected here. And on the next page is the 2 executive directors, given our circumstances. We are a merit system district and a dual hat district. So we do have items that go to the commission, but we also have items that go all the way up to our board, and that's why we're a dual hat district. Over 410 job classifications and 540 or so. We fluctuate between 535 and 545 classified employees. Now that's AFT represented members, confidentials, and classified managers. Next slide.
Hey, Jennifer, I have
Yes.
never heard dual hat. I was going to ask you, I mean, merit, I get that, but dual hat district?
The dual hat
Define-
district is when decisions have to go through 2 channels, our personnel commission and all the way up to the board as well.
Oh, it's really because the fact we have a personnel commission, which is also unique to the community college system in California. So, okay, that's another way of using it. All right, very good.
Slide. And this is our current structure of the team. Next slide. I'm very proud to announce that last fiscal year we ran over 50 recruitments. Even though there's 41 numbers here, you'll see a couple of classifications that were run multiple times. For example, childcare assistant was run twice, custodian was run 5 times, and so forth. So over 50 exams. Next slide.
Jennifer, do you know what a normal year is? Do we have a normal year? It seems like it's usually around 30, but I might be mistaken on that.
I do recall that we went down during the pandemic to closer to 30. I think about 35 to 40 is standard. So being that we had our CERP, our early retirement program in June of 2020, I'm thinking that's what influenced the additional 10 exams.
Right. Thank you.
And then our recruitment stats, we have been building into our process for some time now, additional measures with competency modeling. Also really clear rating criteria. We used to have a 10-point scale. Now we use a 5-point scale so that the score is more within range. We also, Robin, I know that you've asked about this a couple of times, but the applicant ethnicity, where are placements, how many are applying in each ethnicity? And if you go to the next page, it reflects the new hire ethnicity at the very bottom reflects the actual placements. So that's the data that you've asked us for. You'll see here, just again, very high level overview. This is a longitudinal study. It's looking at numbers over 4 years. So you'll see our current number of classified employees that the diversity has increased year over year for our classified staff. So moving from 60.42% currently in the last fiscal year to 67.08%. So that number is inching upward, which is a really good thing to see. You also see amongst our management team that the numbers have fluctuated slightly. There was just a very small decrease from 55.78 over the previous fiscal year to 55.32%. So we continue our DEI efforts. Next slide. Our classified employee of the year, we've had a 2-peat. We're going to try to do a 3-peat next year. Last year was Erin Turner. This last year was Linda Olmos. Next slide. We continue our professional development efforts. We're really proud of our Classified Professional Development Day. We've had to host that 100% online. We've had 2 very successful back-to-back events there. Our annual classified luncheon was placed on hold, but as we were talking about earlier, we look forward to really celebrating when we're allowed to do so back in person. Next slide. And I'll end here by sharing that we have over 20 individuals with more than 20 years of service. So this is always a really impressive list. I think last year we had 1 or 2 individuals in the 40-year category. So you can see there's a lot of commitment to the district, and longevity is something that a lot of employees take pride in. Next slide.
Vicki Lurch has been there 30 years.
Yeah.
That's hard to believe.
And so our classification study continues, and really what we're trying to achieve at the end of the day is these 4 pillars, which is we want to recruit staff effectively, We want to develop them, train and develop them. By doing so, we can retain them more effectively. And ultimately, the goal is to reward them for their contribution in the work that they're performing. So we continue our classification study efforts. Next slide. And then all of our PC meeting dates is reflected on the last page. So that's our annual report, and we do this every year, and we're really proud of working across lines with the communications team to format the data in a really visually appealing way. So shout out to them.
So Jennifer, in the past, when we had in-person meetings, individuals from the commission could go and we would generally sit in the audience, and the executive director would give the report, but we would sit there for any questions or support. How do you think that this will look this year? Do you have any idea?
Still be on Zoom?
I can talk to Loy and Kristen about that. I know since we're doing it via Zoom, I believe last year, Robin, you attended with me. She was our new commissioner, so it was the two of us that presented the report together.
I did attend. I believe that was a lengthy meeting. It was very nice.
It was a very lengthy meeting. I was watching the whole thing. I'm not sure that they want all of us there, thinking back into the past. So if we could get kind of a feeling of what the board wants for that evening, I think it might save a little frustration on our part. I don't know if Loy should do that. Seems like maybe a question from Loy to the board.
Well, to the superintendent president is asked the question, what representation do you want there from the Personnel Commission?
Right. So Loy, can you ask that question on our behalf?
Absolutely, I would be happy to.
That would be great. And if we could just get an answer by the next meeting, because I assume that the board meeting would be the following, it's going to be in December and our next meeting will be November. Thank you, Loy, for doing that. I appreciate it.
Personal note, we are not offended if they say they don't want us there. That's my own personal perspective. So.
They didn't want me there last year, so because I wanted to be there to meet, to support Robin and the report, but I know that I wasn't invited to be on screen. So I watched it from YouTube. Okay. With all of that, any other questions or comments on the Personnel Commission annual report? Hearing and seeing none. Robin?
Aye.
And Jeff?
Aye.
I vote aye. That passes unanimously. On to approval of eligibility list. This is for contracts technician. May I have a question? Have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
Thank
I'll
you.
second it.
Thank you. And is there any discussions on the contracts technician?
Received 6 applications after the subject matter expert review. 3 were placed on the eligibility list and 1 is an internal candidate.
Thank you, Jennifer. Any additional discussion? Hearing and seeing none. Robin?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
I vote aye. That passes unanimously. On to C, approval of advanced salary placement. This is for childcare assistant. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
I will second it.
And is there any discussion on childcare assistant, or Jennifer, do you have anything you'd like to share?
Scenario with the minimum wage being $14 an hour, there's a compressed salary schedule. So for parity with where others have been placed at either step D or E, this is consistent with that for that reason.
Thank you. And is there any additional discussion, childcare assistant? Hearing and seeing none. Jeff?
Aye.
Robin?
Aye.
I vote aye. That passes unanimously. On to D, approval of advanced salary placement. This is for human resources manager. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
And Jennifer, what do you have on the background of this individual?
The minimum qualifications for this job is a bachelor's degree in 5 years. The candidate comes to us with a master's degree and 6 years of HR experience. The placement allows for internal equity with other recent hires in the same class, and the individual is coming from a community college. So for all of those reasons, the placement seems warranted.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Which community college?
Rio Hondo Community College.
Any additional discussion? Hearing and seeing none. Robin?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
I vote aye. That passes unanimously. On to E, approval of advanced salary placement. This is for senior accountant. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
And I will second.
And is there discussion on this? Jennifer, any background?
The candidate has a bachelor's degree and 5 years of experience, which exceeds the MQs of BA in 4 years, and they've been working within the fiscal services department already.
Thank you. Any additional discussion on this item, senior accountant? Hearing and seeing none. Jeff?
Aye.
Robin?
Aye.
I vote aye. That passes unanimously. We've already discussed F, so we'll go on to G, approval of the classification study recommendations and classification specifications. This is our second reading. We are very thrilled to say. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
And do we have any discussion on this monumental task that has
We've been
been?
discussing this since the beginning of time.
It has.
But, no, but it is time.
It is time.
It is time. Thank you.
So
to
I know that
everyone.
this is a smaller batch, but we're really proud of this batch because many of these were in the appeal category. So we've started to move the appeals forward and we started issuing those notices on Friday.
We are proud of all of our batches, whether big or small. So thank you for that. Robert, Donna, did you have any additions on our discussion here? Are you guys still there? I don't know if you're still there.
Yeah, I'm still here. No, I'm thrilled that they're moving forward. We're trying to get through this reclass and get it so the entire completion is moving forward. So I know HR is working diligently on this, and I appreciate everything they're doing to try to wrap up the reclass to get it to the next stage.
Thank you, Robert. Anyone
Robert-
else? Donna? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jennifer.
No, it was I'm sorry,
sorry, Robin.
Jean. I was going to ask Robert a question. Robert, how are the members feeling? Are we doing well? Are we meeting expectations?
It's been so long. People are just like disillusioned at this point. It's just 5 years is a long time.
I understand.
There's no positive about it except that they're all wanting to get to the financial portion is all I can really say. And so we get past the description, we can't get to that section.
Yeah.
So
I respect that. I understand.
yeah, and there's a couple of things, here and there, but I know Jennifer's been addressing them as they come up. And as far as I know, I haven't heard anything after that they've been addressed. So for now, everything is great. Let me knock on wood. Yeah.
Thanks, Robert.
By the way, have we heard anything because the reclassification study, that's a lot of pick and shovel work, so to speak. But the real issue when you finally get to it is the salary component. And we are still not sure what our role is from a commission standpoint on that. So, and I still don't know what the expectations are for us in that. There were some questions previously about those questions were going to be answered, but what exactly is going to be our role. But yeah, I'm just happy that we finally got the classification study, this part done, and we'll get onto the other component as well. Yeah, and hopefully it'll never take this long ever again, but it did, and to no fault of anyone in this meeting. So, well, except me probably, but anyway.
I don't think you had anything to do with it, Jeff.
I just complained about it. All I'm going to say is my worst fear happened in a different role.
Yeah.
My biggest concern that I raised actually happened, and it just bugs me to no end. But anyway.
Any additional discussion on the classification study? Hearing and
I didn't hear from Donna. Did Donna have any feedback?
Did Donna have anything?
No, I was going to say most people who were here when it started have now retired.
Oh, good point.
They are. They're retired and happy.
I can't. Thanks, Donna.
They were 12 when it started. Okay. Hearing and seeing none, we will go on with a vote. Robin?
Aye.
And Jeff?
Aye.
I happily vote aye, and we will go on. That is passed unanimously. We'll go on to 3 information items. Our next meeting is Monday, November 22nd, 2021, 5 o'clock via Zoom. Just a reminder, that is Thanksgiving week. Yeah, it is, I think, right?
Oh, it is. It is.
Yeah, just wanted to remind everybody about that. Closing items, comments from the staff. Jennifer, what do you have for us tonight?
Hope I don't embarrass you, Robin, but we have a very special birthday. So I just wanted to wish Robin a happy birthday.
Thank you. I'm 25 all over again.
I was going to say, it looks like the anniversary of your 21st birthday.
It is. Of course, don't tell my children that.
And
Thank you.
in the spirit of Thanksgiving, I invited the classified team to the next PC meeting. I know that there's been the introduction of new members and just changing roles. And I just really want to thank them publicly for their hard work and celebrate our resiliency and all of the team wins. So I will invite all of the team, but whoever is unable to attend, we will have their picture and a few highlights of their contribution.
Thank you.
That's a great idea. We can be thankful for all of them. Anything else, Jennifer? Okay, thank you. Jeff, what do you have for us tonight?
No, I asked maybe it was before we started the meeting about the holiday party. I look forward to where we're going to be back together. But my question is, though, that I'm assuming that we're going to still continue Zoom through the end of the year, or is that possibly going to change? I'm just assuming that right now. So that was the question, Jennifer. Are we just going to anticipate staying in the Zoom category for November, December?
The last direction I received was through the end of November at minimum, but I'm thinking at this point, probably through the end of the year, so we can revisit at the beginning of next year.
Maybe Dario has some information on that. Dario, do you have more information on what we're doing?
We're still confirming, but to my knowledge, there was talk that the board will be meeting in January.
Okay.
Nothing's confirmed as far as
They'll
that
be
I know.
meeting in person?
In person that would be, worst, best case scenario, but nothing's been confirmed.
So,
but we are still in Zoom. Board is still in Zoom, definitely until the end of December.
if they're meeting in person and they've got that vaccine mandate, I'm going to assume that they're going to have to show proof of vaccine for anybody who wanted to attend.
I would assume, and it'd be premature of me to say anything of any details or anything,
Right.
but I think that's what they would like to see. But again, there has to be other details of the mandates and everything in place as well before they actually come in person, and definitely work public comment and all that information before then.
We'll be in the Zoom. We'll realistically the rest of the year, November, December, we'll be in the Zoom format. Okay.
I can tell you, I can add on a lot and get Dario off the hook. The mandates take effect during the month of January, depending if it's student, classified, or faculty. There are some minor variations because of when classes start and when students start. So the vaccinations from what the board passed will be a couple weeks before the start of class, which is mid-January. So I don't know what the board's planning, but to have students involved would be a challenge before classes start. But that's their purview. I'm just saying, by when classes start, everyone will be vaccinated on campus. So I would assume whatever return would be in February, but the board can do whatever the board wants.
Thank you, Robert. Back to our comments. We're on, let me see. Jeff or Robin, did you have anything additional for us?
Nothing else, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. How about Robin? Did you have anything additional for us? Did we lose Robin?
Because of my ringing clocks, I stay on mute.
Oh.
No, I have nothing to add.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I wanted to say, number one, happy birthday to Robin.
Thank you.
And I wish that I looked as young as she does. I think we probably all do. Between Robin and Jeff, I don't know, they kind of are in a tie for who looks the youngest, which is
Jeff is definitely in a time warp, I'm telling
Yeah,
you.
well, I'm in a time warp, all right.
It's pretty great. It's a pretty great time warp you're both in. I want to congratulate Juliet on her new prospective position. You're an enormous asset to us and just constantly supporting us in every single way. We will deeply miss you, but I want you to understand that nothing in that discussion about that we had tonight was about you, nothing. We couldn't be more thrilled with everything you've done for us and everything you will continue to do for the college in your future role. But I just appreciate you so much, and breaks my heart that you will be going elsewhere. But I'm also thrilled for you that you're going to have a new opportunity. So I just want to make that very clear that nothing had to do with you, but boy, I sure appreciate you. You're just tremendous. So thank you so much. Loy's lucky, very lucky. I hope you have any idea how lucky you are to get her. So thank you, Juliet.
He knows, that's why he got her.
I know he knows. He's gonna soon realize what a deal he got.
Yeah.
And Janine, we all try to keep this very much of the process and the framework within it. But
Yes.
human nature, when we know the person involved in it, it's really hard to say
brutal.
because we just know the person, and the fact that we've worked with the individual. That is also just human nature. I'd be lying if I said that doesn't come in my my calculations on whether to postpone or move forward. You just know you've got a gem of a person. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't be human if I didn't say that.
Yeah.
Hard as I try to keep it very much between the lines, those factors do creep in.
Yep, absolutely. Anything else for this evening? That's it for my comments. On to public comments from non-agenda items. Do we have anything from anyone else in the audience who would like to share with us this evening? I am deeply appreciative to all of you for being here tonight. Loy and Kristen, we couldn't have done this conversation without you, but every single person, I really value honest, open discussions where people don't get mad at each other and just hear each other out and can be respectful of each other's opinions and get to a positive conclusion. And I think we did a great job of that tonight. Personally, I feel like that happened, but it couldn't have happened without you here, because if you weren't giving that input, I know I would have made a different decision. So for all of you being here, thank you so much for all of that input and that authenticity. No other comments, nothing else for this evening. I'm seeing no hands. I'm seeing no one who wants to say anything. With that, we're adjourned. Have a great night, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Have a good one, you guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Night.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right.
Recording
Fight on.
stopped.
Fight on,
Fight on.
Janine.
Fight on. Beat the
Happy
Bears.
birthday.